Alright, a video of, yes, the beta subjects, let's say. Let's call it that, the beta subjects. Maybe I'll title it that. Not important stuff, but it's there, and people keep saying shit that's stupid. So I thought I would point out how, no, this isn't the way to talk about shit. I mean, it's all this psychology shit in a sense. Alright, so two ends to this thing. I guess we'll get to ContraPoints first. Again with the booze. Just a random spot in the video. He's always got to put a booze commercial in the video. I mean, isn't that some kind of beta insecurity? Oh yeah, women think drinkers are cool. Well, they do for 5 minutes, and then they figure out, oh shit, I'm gonna have to live with this asshole. And they say, gee, that's a mistake. Really doesn't. Yeah, it's really not cool in any kind of real sense. Anyway, so this is, so it's a subject basically about race and how people interpret their place in the world and feel about that. So anyway, he makes like silly accusations in here about alpha being some sort of not real thing, and it's just kind of silly. I mean, every simian tribe is dominated by, gorillas dominated by an alpha, does most of the mating. Chimpanzees, orangutans, outrageous alphaness, so alpha that their hormones completely disfigure them. That's how the alpha is. I mean, bigger everything. You can go into like elephant seals. There's all kinds of herd animals and all kinds of animals that display this alpha tendency. And just because wolves aren't as alpha as they thought, certainly doesn't change the fact that alpha is all over the place in nature. And it's just silly not to recognize that humans are descendant from animals that are really alpha. They're so alpha that, like in bonobos, the alpha goes to the female, and the female decides, the female status decides your status as a minky. I mean, who you're going to be is going to be dictated by who your mama is. But she's going to kick everybody's ass for you. So, it's just silly to say the concept doesn't exist. It obviously exists. Who cares is what I would say to it, because we're really not playing some sort of I feel like a king. It really doesn't matter. I feel, who cares? Life comes down to this communication thing we do mostly. I mean, we're mostly cybernetic organisms already have become. And even in our social interactions, we have to be so careful of our rhetoric, and we have to be so polite and considerate to other people's needs and feelings that there's absolutely nothing. There's nothing even close to a natural life where you do as you feel. We're always checking our feelings and saying, "Oh, okay, I gotta listen to this bitch. It's boring, whining. Okay, I'm listening. Yes, I'm being understanding. Okay, blah blah blah." That's how we have to behave. So it doesn't really, there's no place for the syndrome of all these shitheads suck attitude. I mean, you can have the attitude, it's just not going to do you any good. So anyway, so there's this tripe and crap, this psychobabble. The one subject he didn't study in school, psychology, is, he's talking psychology. So anyway, he got into this whole thing about, these alpha male loser types that aren't alpha males. Just the ones who try to associate themselves with macho, and, that somehow that's the definition of alpha. Like they would really show up when it came to be fight day, and take the risk and, to the death. That they would be the guy jumping on the grenade, all that kind of shit. I don't think so. When push comes to shove, they run like pussies. I'm sure, Donald is a pussy. Oh, a whiny little bitch. But anyway, yeah. So but that's not really the point. This is what he's getting to: is that this alpha thing has something to do with this Hitler thing and racism and all this other crap. And yeah, some of that's true, but some of it is just reasoning. Okay, and that people who have a passion are a vanity even. So I mean, Contra Reports seems pretty vain. I mean, there's a whole bathroom scene here in the tub, and does all this prancing around in the video, and I know they're in here somewhere. When we get up past whatever this guy is, how come all his clips keep popping up? For fuck's sake! I mean, it's got to be one of. Yeah, oh, there he is. He's pouring shit into the tub, so this has to be close. There he is in his robe. So now he's going to do his little. Oh, there we go. Look at. Oh, we have some bulge showing. Anyway. So yes, obviously a vain individual, as many of us are, and clearly people will associate that with, hey, this is the right way to be. See how cool I am? I'm so beautiful. Look at. So if you had to live for the rest of time as like a Jabba the Hutt or something, some other creature, and you couldn't do your, and you still had the same aesthetic senses of beauty, but you had to exist as something that wasn't beautiful. Do you think that would be charming fun? Or do you think that would be frustrating and irritating and nasty? And so that's sort of what people are doing. They just can't imagine the world without their type in it. And so they're saying, look, the world's changing. It's a fact. This is not a fantasy. I mean, people aren't making this up, okay? Like, say if you could analogize this to like a lifeboat. And like in the 1700s, the lifeboat had, 5 whites to 2, darker people. And then, well, I should use 10 people in the lifeboat. That would make more sense. So it was like 7 to 3 or something. And then it gets 5 to 5. And then and yes, clearly now the population change is substantial. It's significant. The world's changing color. It's just a fact. I mean, it changed radically throughout history. I mean, it was all black. It became European white. The Europeans had some success, and now they're declining. That's the way it works. Rome falls and all that kind of shit. And some people don't want Rome to fall. It's not evil not to want that to happen. It is evil when you convert it into some excuse to say other people are less important than you and all this stuff. But if they want to fight for their place on the lifeboat, you almost can't blame them. That they sort of have a right to fight for their place on the lifeboat. I'm just saying, so say if the lifeboat now, okay, is, mostly people, like there's crazy Muslims, or, they're a huge percentage now, so you got loony Muslims, loony Christians, then you got a bunch of poor people, you got Asians that are kind of mixed, from success to complete slavery, and then you got a couple of these dopey whites sitting around playing with their iPods or something. And that's the lifeboat, and it's just not very encouraging, to say, well, gee, what am I investing in? Am I investing in my existence in civilization, or am I investing in their existence in civilization? Because, the idea is that you're trying to save the lifeboat. You're going to throw a few people off and try to get to an island of paradise where you're going to, do that whole Adam and Eve thing. And so this is the seed of your new civilization. And what are the odds that your people are going to stay on the lifeboat by democracy alone? No, the odds are they're going to get kicked off. And that's the world we're seeing. That's the world that's changing. And unfortunately, there's a second side to this thing that makes it even uglier, is that most of the people who are breeding are not the white people. And so that's a clear threat. So you're saying these people are idiots for having some kind of being able to make a distinction between white person and black person. Like they somehow shouldn't make any distinctions at all, even emotionally or aesthetically. Somehow they're not allowed to do that. Like they're not allowed to see the difference between skinny guy and fat guy. So I'm supposed to be just as sensually intrigued if you weigh 200 pounds. That's you're saying to me, basically. If I'm not able to switch hit that way, somehow I'm missing, okay, the rules. I violated a rule of the game because I'm not a switch hitter. That's sort of bullshit. I mean, it's almost like they're doing the opposite of the gay bashing thing, where they're saying, like, the opposite of the homosexuals are perverts and queer and crazy, you know, and have hair on their palms and all kinds of shit. They're almost doing the opposite. They're almost making, well, if you have any kind of normal sensual experiences, you're a fucking lunatic because you can't switch hit, because, you know, you can't go fuck a 400 pound bitch just as fast as you know, fuck an anorexic bitch or something. But somehow, if you can see the difference between pretty and ugly, you are a fucking weird queer motherfucker. No, I don't think so. Now the question is whether those aesthetics, that those that silly sense of value should have any value in a political sense. And obviously I don't think it should. That we should be able to acknowledge that it really doesn't matter in the big picture who's doing the feeling and the happiness thing and discovery thing and whatever the fun is on this stupid cunt ugly planet. You know, bug life. Who cares what the bug looks like? It's a bug. I mean, whether we're cockroaches or, you know, pill bugs, who cares? Okay, we're fucking bugs, and it really doesn't make any goddamn difference. But to expect people to say, I can feel good about that, would be silly. I think we should be able to expect them to say, I understand it's my psychological thing, that, you know, I don't get it. But what they should convert that into, that knowledge into, is just how silly life is, because it's really just about how fuckable the bitch is. And life is fuckable to us because we're addicted to it, and that's it. And if you take away the aesthetics, the addiction, the I recognize that as food, all of a sudden it isn't edible. All of a sudden you realize that you are just a bug, and it's not worth investing in black men or white men or brown men or purple men or any kind of men, because they're all assholes. Any color of human is suck shit fucking deluded insane fucktarded creep. It's all bad news. There's no good news in this fucking bug life. That should be what you do. Okay, to separate yourself from the problem of not getting it aesthetically, is recognizing that if it wasn't for the fact that you're horny for it, vaginas is ugly. If it wasn't for the fact that you're horny for it, you know, you can go right down the list. It just wouldn't make any sense to you. Take away your hunger, and food is, what the fuck is that slop? Why would I put that inside of me? You know, it's not going to make any sense. Alright, so that's part of this. So I'm not trying to defend neo-Nazi racist fucktards. Of course I'm not. I'm just saying it's silly to sit there and play this psychology game that this is somehow related to alphaness, when no, it's just related to the fact that you can, you know, add 2 plus 2, that you can see the idiocracy is on the move, okay, that things is going to be a change in, and the changes don't look terribly productive. It doesn't look like, oh, look at all the smart people, they're taking over the world. It's not that kind of thing happening. So there's nothing to feel too fucking goddamn encouraged about. And, you know, you mocking it as some kind of problem some kind of neo-Nazi has, because he sees the world a-changing, and the changing don't look too fucking good or promising. You know, sorry, you're the one being, I think, overtly illogical. I mean, you're prancing illogic. And a kind of hypocrisy, obviously. You know, so what's the point? You know, so I'm just saying. So it's just irritating. Whatever cliche philosophy, blah blah blah. The truth is not these simple labels. It's a little more complicated. And although I really do despise the survivalist mentality whiteys, I don't like seeing them mislabeled either. And I don't like having something like pride or self-respect as somehow being blamed, okay, for these things, because you can have those things without being stupid about it. You can be a subjective individual with individual taste, okay, without being a threat to other people's rights. It's true. So I don't even want to get into the woman thing. You know, like these. See, I love the fact that these guys and having all kinds of problems defining their own masculinity are somehow experts on what women think. You know, they understand the women, and that's laughable. Like it's kind of just laughable. I just don't think I don't think you're ever going to write the book on that one that's going to be at all understandable. Good luck. I'd like to see you try. But yeah, it's always ironic, you know, that gay men dress women, and you're just saying, holy shit, you want to make her as unattractive as possible. Yeah, wear gay man chosen clothes, and I'm sure you're not even going to want to go you're not even going to want to hug that woman. Okay, but she's going to look so fucking goofy. Yeah, it's like capri pants. Yeah, that had to be a gay man's idea. Oh. Anyway, culottes. It's got gay man all over it. Oh yes, let's wear a skirt that has a blockade in it. For no good reason. Yeah. It's completely useless. Hunk of extra crap in the way. Sorry, doesn't make any sense. Anyway, gay. So anyway, it's just not somebody. I'm just saying, it's not somebody who really loves women that would come up with those kind of ideas. So you know, you really got to have a little bit of resentment, you know, to be dressing women poorly. Anyway, it just seems true. Obviously. So anyway, yeah, I just thought I'd point that out. So I don't know if I have to go any further than that. I don't know if there's anything more important to say. I'm just saying, and with the definition of what an alpha is just so weird in this society, you know, because if we're just going to go by winning, well, that's not necessarily the attitude that is alpha. So I don't know if it connects the two things together. And I guess everybody is, you know, it's so good to mimic something. You know, that's, you know, the whole game gets kind of lost in people who are pretenders. What they used to call that? Posers. Yeah, lots of posers in the world. You know, they're pretending to be heavy metal, that kind of thing. Yeah. So, you know, hard to tell who's what in the world that exists. And as stated, I don't know if it really matters. But there is so much insecurity in how people are living. I mean, you know, the irony is also, it's like you have these whatever, the leftist types, you know, oh, you can't think about race, you can't do this, you can't see anything that's happening in the world, you can't malign people because they're stupid or religious kooks or anything. Well, anyway, those kind of idiots who can't see anything, but goddamn, they can see foreskin 5 miles away. They can see an amputated foreskin, you know, and they're just on that right away. Boy, well, I can't. How, you know? It's like the tragedy in, you know, all of civilization, just a huge, giant problem. You know, this missing foreskin. You know, and it's goddamn insane. I mean, it comes up constantly, and you're saying, what kind of insecurity floats that? I mean, what kind of, I mean, just naked insecurity gets people all riled up about a subject that just seems to me that you just make a calculation. You can't know what it's like from both sides, but you can certainly tell that there's positive testimony from both sides, And then you got these little statistical advantages, and you say, well, yeah, why not clean things up if possible? So if you're a clean person, you say, let's do it the clean way. And if you like things a little bit woodsy and smelly, yeah, you go with the old-fashioned way. But I mean, to sit there and say you have the right answer, you know what is right. You know what the best option is. You know it for a certainty. I mean, that confidence comes out of some kind of real insecurity. Right? Yeah. I mean, because that's like the Trump syndrome, right? The guy doesn't have clue one, but just the idea of being aggressive wins. And that's what he has learned. He's been taught aggression wins. And that's all. So it doesn't have anything to do with knowing you're right, being strong, competent. It just has to do with aggression. Aggression wins. And that's not the same as alpha, in my opinion. Alpha is more than just aggression. Alpha is about some sort of glorified, some sort of peak performance, some sort of winning the good fight, all that kind of stuff too. It's an honor thing. There's a whole lot that goes into that pride thing, and I would argue that the alpha needs to believe not only that he's strong enough, but that his strength has integrity, that it's made of something real. And these posers don't have that. So anyway, that's probably enough. Like I said, not important subjects. You're not going to fix the psychologically insane with a conversation about why you're psychologically insane. Why it's perfectly natural to hate idiocracy. It's perfectly natural to see the things you're aesthetically attached to, like ballet or something. You're seeing it disappear. You're seeing a lack of appreciation for something you value. And that is disturbing to accept. It's disturbing to see something like, say, if it was a plant and it was going extinct and it was your favorite plant. Say if your favorite color was going to be eliminated from the rainbow of colors. Legitimate to be irritated or find that disturbing, but not legitimate to act irrationally because of it. You have to rationally deal with what you perceive to be the problem, not irrationally deal with it. And the only rational way to deal with the problem that exists in the world is to say, well, look, if we're going to have a race war in terms of we're going to try to outbreed each other, let's do it by some sort of guidelines where it isn't just desperation that drives up population. And that's what we have now. It's only stupidity, ignorance, and poverty that guarantees overpopulation. As soon as you have a little bit of a decent life, you don't want to ruin it by making sloppy reproductive choices. And so, if we're going to have this race war, we're going to have this breeder war, it seems rational that you might advocate that, well, look, the fight ought to be at least fair. Okay, so either we make white people poor, so they overpopulate, so they can keep up, or we take the other races and we elevate them to infertility, where they want something more than a bunch of babies to take care of. Something like that. But it is a problem. I mean, there's just no point in arguing that we should all feel great that if our pedigree is going to be smothered, that we all, oh, great, we're all going mulatto, and we all should say great. I'm not saying we shouldn't say great, but I'm just saying it's hard to feel great. Okay, so again, all this vanity stuff, would this vanity stuff mean anything if I put you in different skin? I'm not too sure it would. I'm not too sure you'd be too damn comfortable. But anyway, enough said. For what it's worth. So, I don't know. So somebody might pervert this into some sort of, he just defended racism. No, I didn't defend that. He just defended being a nut. No, I didn't defend that. I'm saying I'm defending the fact that people find the world, okay, to be aesthetically problematic. Their subjective expectations of civilization are not matching the direction the civilization is taking. And that is a problem. Yeah. I like speaking English. Doesn't make me an asshole. I'm not an asshole bigot because I like speaking English and don't really want to learn some other language. That doesn't make me wrong. Doesn't make me a fool. Doesn't make me a fucktard. It's just an efficiency from my perspective. Alright, enough said. Till next time and such. I figure.